Going live, baby. We going live, Greg. So here's the thing: is moving forward. I'm now live. We're live with the whole World Wide Web. I just got to turn out this music, and I got to do a whole bunch of sharing while I got you guys on, and we're going live on this whole look at this. This is a TikTok thing. So again, unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we've been going live on all these different platforms. Very patient. I'm grateful that the community, you guys, have been supporting all of what we've been doing out here. What I can tell you is it's a work in progress, just like us, just like the way we share every week about what we're in here doing. So, as always, I appreciate the patience. Although we do got things figured out a lot better than we ever have in the past. I know you guys can hear me right now, which is a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over on Facebook and do all that sharing to all the different groups. So every week when you guys are able to find me and you're able to hear the show and listen and what have you, that's because I do this whole thing where I share it to all these different groups, different recovery groups like this. Here, I'll show you. You can't see because it's bright, but I'll label them off. We got the recovery group, Big Dirty Minds of Recovery, Be Strong, Minnesota Hope Dealers, Recovery Bright Grace, Campfire Meeting, Monthly Campfire Meeting, AA Zoom Alcoholic, Recovery Memes, Sober Motivation, the Recovery Riders, Recover Out Loud, the Grace Recovery Community. There's tons of these. So I sit here usually at the beginning of every show and I go through and I just sit here and do this. I share. And the thing that there should be a way I can do this without one big group. I haven't figured it out yet. And the reason I'm sharing all this with you guys is if there's anyone you know who would be interested in getting part of the show with the technical side of things, I could definitely use the assistance. Will is part of being an engineer on the show moving forward. It's all work in progress. So we're getting it all figured out. And I guess at the end of the day, what I want to say is thank you for your guys' patience and support. As always, the Attitude for Gratitude Recovery podcast is just starting now. Down here at 4026 Washington Avenue North. We are at Will Work for Recovery. We are at a recovery center. It's an RCO, it's a recovery community organization. We are the largest in the world, meaning we have the highest number of alcoholics and addicts. We have the biggest community that come into these rooms here at Will Work for Recovery. It's a pretty big feat, I guess you could say. It's a pretty big goal, and Carolyn and Paul's vision, which you guys heard them come on and share about, it's being accomplished. We are a huge resource center. They have multiple different peer recovery specialists that help out with finding, places to live and resources for getting back into school. And we've got the computer room that's getting set up with the reentry program. There's just a lot of things going on. And I know I'm babbling right now, which isn't the normal way because I usually have all this crap done by now. So again, the whole patience part, I'm grateful for you. We do have MN 32 is going on right now, tonight. It's the it's the Gopher State of NA. It's down at the same place, the Doubletree, and it goes until Sunday. They have speakers all night, all day. They've got talent shows. We've had some people come on here from the board of MNAC, and it's a good time. So if you're not, thank you. And you know what, anyone, you see my number going across the bottom of the screen. If you have any questions for my guests throughout the show or any questions for me, feel free to direct message me. If you don't want your name or your information on the screen, you can message me directly. Otherwise, this is an interactive show, so feel free to post any questions for myself or the guests. Okay, I've shared it to 61 different recovery groups while I've been babbling. So I don't know what I told you guys. And if I repeat some stuff, I apologize. There we go. That's it. Done. Now we can get back to what I was telling you guys is, if you're struggling, please reach out. If you need some help, if you're looking for meetings, come on down to We'll Work for Recovery. You're going to hear us talk about a lot of different places that we get our recovery at. Greg's on the show tonight. He's going to talk about his story, his experience, strength, and hope, what he's been through, what it's been for him to get to where he's at today. You're going to hear about some accomplishments, and we don't gatekeep our recovery. I found my recovery at New Hope, Allano, 2218, Fridley, Allano, Blaine, Allano, Fairview, Riverside, here at We'll Work for Recovery, over at the Sahara Club, Serenity Village, Eaglebrook. I bring up all these places to let you know, like, it's not, I found it, now it's mine to keep. We share about all this stuff. So if there's some meetings, there's some information about meetings you guys want to share about, feel free to share about it. It's okay. Again, we do not gatekeep. We share about that shit. We share about everything and use over nothing. Okay. Other than that, if you are struggling, please reach out. You're worth this life of recovery we sit and talk about every week. Mental health, we understand it's a real thing. There's many different resources in Minnesota for you to get help. So fight for yourself. If no one's told you today, like, you're worth this life we sit and talk about. And you're loved. Like, if no one's told you, here you go. I love you. All right. So now it's time to pitter patter. Greg, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So what we're going to do is boop this over. Get as close to that mic as you can. And who are you, young man?
Hi, everybody.
Oh, what's that? No, you're good. Yep. You're good. I know it should stop. Yeah, let's see.
Hi, everybody. My name's Greg, and I'm a recovered alcoholic and addict.
Recovered? Oh, here, let me come play with that. That thing got loose on us, but that's okay. That's, like I said, we deal with stuff. We deal with stuff.
Now y'all see how that the act of the devil, because he knows every time when God get ready to bless, look, the enemy, he always sends some mess to try to get y'all from getting this message tonight. Yes. Yes, so I'm humble.
Yeah.
I'm humble as well as honored to share my experiences and hope. And I want to thank you for inviting me to speak.
Tim's ready to help anybody.
Yes, I love you, Tim. I do. My sobriety date is October the 19th, 2015.
Nice. Wow. So
that's
like 10 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be 10 years in October.
All right. Okay.
And I don't want to take y'all on a drug journey, but I want to share with y'all when he talked about mental health. And mental health came from words was impacted in my brain and in my spirit at an early age. You know, when you're from the South and you have a Southern accent, and we moved to Chicago in 1965, and we would go to the store and the lady would say, "Would you care for a paperback?" I want y'all to follow. And we from the South, we said, "No, give me a paper sack." You know, other kids will laugh at you. And then in fourth grade, this is really, I carried this, sometimes still do now. When we would go out to recess and they say, "Hey, Gregory, you look like Lurch." Because I had big feet and big hands. I didn't even like myself. Man, that went on until 13, 14 years old. And I drank some Wild Irish Rose and smoked three guys smoked one joint. And when I got high, you can talk about my mama. I said, "No," I laughed right along with you. And I didn't realize that they carried over to 1978. I wanted to hang with a group of guys. See, low self-esteem. I was looking for approval. Yeah, I wanted to be accepted. Then I sit in the basement, smoke weed, and listen to Pink Floyd. Y'all remember the song, "Another Brick in the Wall"? And we would chant that all day, didn't go to school. And watch this, get mad at the teacher because she didn't tell me, "You got to repeat the 7th or 8th grade again." Anyway, I pushed the teacher down the stairs, broke her ribs. They kicked me out of school. All this over alcohol. That led to 1978. I did an armed robbery. You know, I was a bad criminal. I went in the store with a gun with no bullets in it. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? We ain't had no bullets. Just fake it till you make it. Go in the store, Slim. Then somebody told me to curse this. Go in there and say, "Stick up, don't make it no murder." And I go in there, "Stick up, don't make it no murder." Well, anyway, the judge gave me 6 years for armed robbery. And this is one lie I told, man. And I carried this lie because my father didn't play. I'm the youngest of 11 children. My father and mother came up to the police station. My son didn't do that. Let my baby go. You know, I'm spoiled. I'm crying. Oh, I didn't do it. And I really did. And them people put their house up and hired lawyers and everything. But the judge said, hey, we don't give probation for a class X armed robbery. If y'all follow me, you look up this number, N02478. Illinois Department of Correction, 18 years old. Imagine going downstate to maximum security. You ain't got no hair on your face. I weigh about 130 pounds. So, you know, I started hanging with some gangs out of fear. I wasn't tough.
Out of fear.
Yeah. Out of fear, man. Fear. You know, you want to fit in. You didn't want to be no coward or nothing. So you had to get in line and do what they told you to do, you know. But after 36 months, after being discharged, after getting out of prison, and you know, your family, I've been writing them letters and they sending me money, and the preacher saying, we gonna support you, and got out of prison, got married, and that was the most traumatizing experience I had.
Getting married?
Getting married, and after getting married, now, first of all, I didn't marry. That's why I love the steps. That fourth step, I got married for security purposes. I just got out of prison. I ain't had no job. I ain't had no money. See, and the wife, the lady I married, I don't even want to call her wife because that was traumatizing to my brain. Yeah.
To even say that.
I didn't even want to say that was my wife. That was a person that I married for security purposes and lust. Y'all remember the 3 C's? I got out in 82. What was it? Calvin Klein jeans, Cavassier, and cocaine. She had a little brown bottle of cocaine. She said, you like me, snort some of this. And I snorted it. I want to fit in. Right. Remember now, low self-esteem. I do things to fit in. That led to freebasing cocaine. And after that, in 85, what was it? PCP and heroin. That's why I noticed when I came to Minnesota, I hear people say, hey, Greg, what was your choice of drugs? I said, whatever you had. Whatever you know, I didn't understand that. What was your choice of drugs, or what was your brand of liquor, whatever you had. Whatever. See, I was the guy that used to drink the green alcohol with the reds in it. Right. The lady got mad. You drunk my reds. You know, this cycle went on. I didn't realize it, y'all. 4 decades. Remember, from 1974, I was 54 years old when I got here to Minnesota. 50. And look, I got a psychiatrist, I got a therapist, I got a 10-step partner, I got a sponsor, he got a sponsor, I got an evangelist, 2 evangelists, because they know I'm gonna get to this part when I told y'all when I ran out of money. I had to share with Tim because this get graphic. Yeah. You know, I don't know about some of y'all. When I ran out of money, I became a criminal again. Yeah. I was what they call it, a cross-dresser. I had a wig in my pocket. It was 3 o'clock in the morning on the west side of Chicago. All the homosexuals was walking around. They was high. I said, shit, let me put me a wig on. I tied my shirt in a knot. I was waving at no car suit. And they was laughing at me. They said, man, look at that crazy motherfucker. Yeah. I mean, that went on for like, man.
Insanity of our addiction.
Insanity of that addiction, man. It leads you down a path that I pray that no human being have to go through. Anyway, I want to get to the part. I want to get to the good part, though. When I got here to Minnesota, I've never met so many nice people. What y'all call it? Minnesota kindness?
Yeah.
Friendliness or something? I thought they was crazy. I would go to a meeting and all this stuff I'm talking about. I've been neglected as a child. I didn't fit in. And back to my marriage, all my brothers and them, they never smoked crack. They drink beer and that's it. All their friends was concrete workers, iron workers, carpenters, plumbers. You know, it wasn't lunchtime, it was Miller time. Hey, guys, you going to the bar? That went on for years. But in 1986, I think I got a DUI.
Now, what year? Do you recall the year that you came to Minnesota? You said you're 54 years old. Were you still using when you came to Minnesota?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
That's why I got here.
All right. Okay.
I was running from some gangbangers because I took all their drugs and smoked it up. They trusted me to sell them. I smoked them up and I was on the run. Right. And my nephew, now, he was associated with these gangs and stuff. They said, Greg, them guys looking for you. And I said, I got to go. So a friend of mine said, Greg, it's a place called Turning Point. Hide out there for a couple of months, you know. And when I got there, and I didn't want to be here, be honest with you. Who want to move from a cold state to a colder state? Yeah. And after 90 days, they let you go to outside meeting.
Turning Point, is that a recovery center?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you came up here, And I know I didn't tell you how I will be interrupting. I'll try
It's
my
good.
best not to. Because we do have questions that already are coming in, and I'll get to your guys' questions when time allows that throughout his story. But you were running from some dope dealers down from Chicago up to here, and when you got here, was there something that happened up here that made you say, all right, I'm getting into recovery? What was that? What made you decide recovery when you got to Minnesota? Was that the plan?
Yeah. That's the only place I can hide out at. I had a lady friend here at the 1500 Golden Valley. He said, go there. And I was hiding out for 2 months.
Okay.
That was the plan.
And the hideout was the treatment spot.
I wasn't thinking about stop drinking. No.
Okay.
So, I was there to hide out. That's why I know this was a God move.
All right.
You know? Yeah, this was a God move. Cause can I go there? Cause
hell yeah.
Yeah, cause
Greg,
what?
Nothing back.
Okay.
You'd be doing our people a disservice.
Okay, you know what the devil meant for evil. See, I smoked up they crack. God meant it for good. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that a little later when I get down a little further.
Full circle.
Yeah. And seeing me hiding out in that treatment place after 60 days, they said you can make an outside meeting. And I went to New Hope, Alamo, and met some people. And then I didn't want to open up. Because when you're running from gangbangers, I didn't even want to tell them my name. I'm glad they got traditions, you know.
Right.
The only long as you had a desire to stay sober. I said, my name Greg. I had a desire to stay drink. I was embarrassed because I didn't know who. And one guy, can I say his name? Yeah. Hank. He said, where you from, kid? I had some walls up, y'all. I said, where you from? When you in them gangs and been in prison. He said, calm down. He said, we asked everybody that. Right. Then he wanted to hug me. I thought the man was gay. Cause when you then had some experience with another man, that's the first thing came up. What do he want? You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you, I was all over the place. Thank God for deliverance. Every time I think about it, I get excited.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So you came into these rooms and this was the first time experiencing a meeting was when you went to New Hope, Alamo.
Yeah.
And you walk in and you're experiencing some out of fear. You weren't trying to tell people too much about yourself.
No.
All right, keep her coming.
Yeah, I ain't want to tell nobody, because look, I was just sharing with Tim. Everybody shared lightly. I was a weekender, I drink just beer. All right. And I ain't want to say nothing because I did everything you had: drugs, alcohol, sleeping with men, women, boys, whatever. Okay. When I ran out of money, I kept the fire going.
Right.
A lot of people talking about, when I ran out of money, I went home and went to bed. I'm like, I don't want to say nothing at this meeting because shit, that's when the ball get to rolling. Yeah. Then when you run out of money. See? Yeah. But when I made that meeting, and after I didn't even open up in the meeting, be honest.
Right.
Hank, hey, y'all get a phone list. They told me, Greg, pick up the phone. Your phone bill will be high, but you won't. That's a true little slogan they use. Because when I gave him my phone number, he called me later on. And he said, where you from? He told me his story first. See, that's why I like them steps, man. What is that? Practical experience. That's the best thing that you can do to reach another alcoholic.
Yep.
He told me some stuff. He said, I used to ride up and down Lake Street, and I used to do this and stuff. And I visualized his story. I was riding up and down Madison on the west side of Chicago over there and doing the same thing.
We find ourselves in other people's stories.
Yes. And I said, well, I did something similar to that, but I didn't get too honest with it.
Right.
I didn't. I just told him bits and pieces, okay?
Yep.
But then when I met the guy that 12-step me, can I say these people's names?
Yeah, just not their you can even say
okay.
Pete F. Just the same traditions.
Yeah.
You can say
his name Kevin S.
Yeah.
And this is really when I knew I had a problem. When he said, meet me at Main Street is an hour before the meeting. The first day I met him. And I didn't understand what he was saying. The first 3 steps, you unawake. The next 4 through 9, you recovering. 10, 11, 12, you recover. I'm like, what the hell are he talking about? I was so dumbfounded. I'm still cloudy. It's only 3-4 months of sobriety. So the next day, when you don't know something, see, that's why I wasn't too smart in school because I couldn't read too good, right? I didn't want to go back because I didn't know what he was talking about. I was asleep. And I'm looking right in his face. You're asleep and you're unawake and all that. So I didn't go. And then the next time, he called me. I got there, but I got there late. He said something I'll never forget. He said, hey, find somebody else to work with. You're not ready. And then I said, okay. I had some pride in the ego. The wall was up. I said, I found somebody else. So I meet this guy named Chet B. Chet said, I'm going to lead you to God. And when the doctor's opinion, I look for the similarity because see, when he told me I was delusional and I made decisions, but never, I made choices, but never a decision. And he broke that doctor's opinions down. And then he said, that third step path, relieve me of the bondage of self. Yeah. See, I ain't know what that meant, y'all. I'm going to go there now, go there. And then turn to page 60, that third paragraph. He says, self-will, there's little success. And when he asked me, he said, Greg, I want to talk to you for a second. And I like Chad because he took me to the side. He said, what's the difference in your will and God's will? And they need to have the third step principle is honesty. That's when I told that man the truth. I said, man, I don't know. He said, you don't know? He said, you don't know the difference in your will? I said, man, I don't know. I thought he was a detective because I'm used to being in them interrogating room. We saw you on camera. You did it. Them flashlight hit that table and I'm saying, no, it wasn't none of me. I'm crying. He said, Greg, look, your will, you selfish, you self-centered, you're a self-seeker, you're full of anger, sloth, lust, and pride. That man hit me and I looked at him. I said, so what that mean? He said, look, we're going to renounce that. We're going to ask God to remove that. That's your thinking, Greg. That's your will. And God's will is one word. And I've been going to church all my life. My father was a deacon. My mother was on the mother board. My whole family, they go to church. He said, one word is love. I'm like, something that I've been wrestling with all my life. Love. And it's love. Love one another. He said, Greg, if you don't get a God-conscious mind, you're going to drink again. And that's when I was like, what is God conscious? Do the right thing when nobody's looking. Integrity. Yeah. He said, because we all can dress up and look nice. We want to get the girlfriend back and get a job and get some money in the fresh outfit and get a couple of bowel movements. And we say, all right. Don't let me get a vehicle and a little money in my pocket. Yeah. I want to go out and buy a nice outfit, but I won't put $1 in the 7th tradition. Right, I'm talking about me. That's my service.
Well, I think we can all relate too.
Yeah. Somebody told me, Greg, why you didn't put money in the thing? Because I didn't think I was going to stay sober, y'all. I really didn't. And the chat said, okay, I got you to God now. I'm sending you back to Staten. I said, for what? Because I'm already got a resentment. Man, this motherfucker, he don't know me. He going to tell me what he ain't going to do. And I did their workshop, y'all. You know, the book talk about root and branch. See, if you ain't got nobody explain to you what root and branch mean, you I know what they said. Right. You just white knuckling it. You're just not drinking. See, root and branch. He said, Greg, when we did that 4th step, he said, I want you to go back. Now, I hope ain't no women on here to hear this part because he said, Greg, things that affected your emotion before you ever touched any alcohol. Do you know I had to think about that? It was back to my father when I failed in 3rd or 4th grade. I had to repeat 4th grade. He told my mother, that boy ain't shit. He ain't gonna never be shit. And those words has depth and weight, man. I started acting like that. Yep. That's why when the teacher would go next door or step out on Friday, step out the classroom, I would run up there. I'm an attention seeker, y'all. I got the eraser and put all these white things on the blackboard and ran back to my seat. Now, I'm the biggest kid in the class. They was calling me Lurch. I'm in 4th grade, but really I should have been in 6th grade. I done failed 2 years. Right. So these little kids, I'm in there with these little kids. And I'm telling them, if you say something, I'm going to bust your head. Yeah. After school, me and you. I was a kid putting his finger up in the eye. A bully. A big bully. And now I found out. The book said it was formed by 100 forms of fear. It was fear. That's why I was downstate. I had to act as if, everybody else had to act a certain way. But when that man told me root and branch, y'all, I like to take time with this part. When he said things affected my emotions, that was the teacher and the kids calling me Lurch. The teacher said, Robinson, you ain't gonna be nothing. My father say, you ain't gonna never be no good. Oh, I got one more. You know when you the tallest in the classroom and they getting ready to go to the washroom, I wanted to get in the front because I had a lust spirit on me and didn't know it. I want to mess with the girl, play with her little balls on her hair and stuff, hit her. I was a bad boy, right? And the teacher would say, Robinson, get to the end of the line. Coming from the washroom, I tried to run out the washroom and get in the front. Get to the end of the line. Now, your father done told you ain't nothing. And everybody around you calling you Lurch. That's those mixed emotions that I walked around and I held on to for a long time, man. I'm telling you, sometimes I think of it now, I want to cry sometimes. But you know, the day I thought I had arrived on picture day, my father cut my hair. I got a little bow tie on, and I got my little suit on, and I'm in school. And they said picture day today. And we got up to the gym. She said, Robinson, get to the end of the line. I want to be up front. I'm like, why I got to always get in the back? That's why I used to act out. Because I didn't want to be in the back. I was tired. I mean, you know, you walk around, didn't never fit in. Nobody gave me approval. That's why now I look for approval.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be accepted. I want to be loved. I want to be cherished. See? But when she told me on picture day to get to the end of the line, I just always acted out. And that stemmed over to my alcohol and my drug addiction and back to the wife, man. When I met her, she started snorting cocaine. And next thing I know, my brothers all bricklayers, right? And you imagine you on parole, she gets pregnant, and I'm doing these drugs, and I stopped snorting cocaine, and then it's a friend of mine met a girlfriend did drugs. She put this stuff in a test tube. And when I took that wet hit, they called it a wet one, a master blaster or some Godfather. Put a wet one on there for him.
What is that? Smoking it?
Smoking.
Okay. Freebase.
Freebase.
Okay.
2223 South State. Anybody know that building, the Iggy's, baby? Or either 1156 Larrabee in Cabrini Green. You got to know somebody to go up in those buildings at 2, 3 in the morning. Believe me. Trust me. I even got robbed at that one time, and some of them knew me. Slim, we love you, man, but we got to have this money. I said, boy, you know, y'all cold. But you know, just part of the game, you know?
Money talk.
Yeah. So, but when I started smoking and doing them drugs, man, my whole life took a turn. Well, and then the wife left. I lost my home, and losing my home, I ended up downtown Chicago. That's why today I make amends to the homeless guy standing by the bridge. I give him $1.
Right.
I tell him, I used to be you. I used to be you, bro. And they look at me like I'm crazy. So I give them that $1. I don't care what they do with it.
Right.
See, when you really get a God conscious, I'm talking about me.
Yep.
You're going to have a heart of gold. You're going to share compassion with other people. Why you think I work at a treatment place. I'm not promoting Turning Point, but I work with the Bloods and the Crips and the different organizations because, look, staff with those degrees, they think they bad people trying to be good. I'm like, slow down. Have patience with them. They need to really have staff to go to meetings now. This is a sick man trying to get well. That's why them kids take to me. He said, man, why you so nice? I used to be you. I was a client here, bro. Yeah, been there and done that. And me working at a treatment place, if y'all could see me, the picture of me when I got there, I weighed 160 pounds, 150 pounds. I look like Skeletor. Now my doctor said I'm pre-diabetic. I'm up to 250. You need to lose 30 pounds. I'm like,
250.
That's what he told me. I weigh 250. I just saw it on the scale over there.
You were 160 pounds, came in here like that.
Yeah.
You got some good support already. You got nephew on, Zavon's on. We got Heather, Danny, Jacob.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people and we got some questions when we get to it. But you're dealing with, I didn't mean to interrupt on this, but
no, that's good stuff. Yeah, I love Zavon. But man, when I ran out of money, he'll say, here, I'm going to take this. My other nephew, he died, you know. That's why I say, you know, them guys, they were nice to me on take these bags, you know.
Zavon's a success story.
Yeah.
You know.
Them guys will see me and say, no, don't bother, Mom. I said, thank you, Jesus. I wish I had 2 more nephews like that. You know, when we run out of money, man, everything goes, see. But that marriage life was traumatic. You don't know what it's like to come home from work. Watch this. You come home from work and her sister's sitting there, her brother sitting there, and they playing cards, drinking your beer. None of them had a job. And then she had that, you know, Richard Pryor called it, you say I can be graphic, right? She had one of them biting coochie. You know them coochie, when you calm in them, they can lock down on you. You be sitting there like, damn, let me go. Yeah. So, and she'll say, Greg, look, if my sister and brother gotta go, I'm leaving. I said, that's okay. Y'all can stay here. Man, that was peer pressure. I feared getting a divorce because I talked to a lawyer. He said, she got a baby, sir. You better make this work. You know, because if not, you got to leave the home. That's why I said the laws another one messed up.
Right.
You got to leave the home. She got to stay there because the baby is 1 year old and pay the mortgage and child support, alimony. He named all that stuff. I said, I die and go to hell. I smoke cocaine to death do me part. That's why I keep telling folks, I will self-destruct myself. I said, I'm going to take myself off. And they always said, if you're going to do it in an easier, softer way. I said, well, I like smoking crack. I'm going to smoke till I die. No matter what I did, I always end up in the back of a police car. And you don't know what it's like to be on a 3 or 4 day bend. And you get in the back of the police car when you handcuffed. And before they get 2 blocks, you snoring. But I heard him talk to his buddy. He said, hey, look, this guy fell asleep. He ain't been in here. But he don't know. I've been out there for like 3, 4 days on one of them benders. I didn't get comfortable until I was in a jail cell.
Right.
I had my shoes under my head and my arms in a t-shirt in a cold jail cell. Do you know I feel like that was peace?
That was peace.
That was peace. I used to run from a nice home, king size bed to the project or living in, let's go a little deeper, in a garage where the girl got a bucket in the corner.
Right.
And they would charge me to sit on that damp couch to smoke.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Slim, you got to hit the house when you sit down, man. Let me open that package. You know, when you do something, man, a whole decade went through, when y'all was watching the Bulls win championships in the 90s, I was always locked up. I don't remember a lot of stuff. I remember Kevin said one day, he said, Greg, you know about the yellow brick road. You know, they be mentioned in different movies. I'm like, what were y'all at? I didn't even have a TV. I don't know about the damn yellow brick road. Only road I know was to get to Cabrini Green or Ickes or Robert Taylor or Henry Horn or something. And they talking about a movie. When did I have time to sit still to watch a movie? I don't know.
That's that insanity, though.
Insanity.
That's that life. That's that.
Yeah.
So you're at this point with the marriage. You got the 1-year-old. Things are falling apart. Come on, where we keep going.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I was on drugs. I stayed high to my daughter. I missed her for going to kindergarten to 1st grade. I missed that 8th grade to high school. The girl graduated from college.
And we chose drugs, and we're okay.
I'd rather stay high before what that judge told me. I refused to do it.
Right.
I said I'll smoke till I die. Is Ron know his dad now? His father had patience with me. Man, the company I work.
Your brother?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He would always say, Bill, he gonna get better. And I'm telling Levi, shit, wait till Wednesday. I'm gonna show you. I never came to work on Thursday and Friday. I couldn't get 40 hours to save my life. And they would ask me, Greg, that stuff really must be good. That's why I pray. I said, y'all don't want nothing.
Don't try this.
Don't try that. They used to say to me, man, that shit that good. Give me something. No, you don't want to play with that baby. That's a whole new gorilla, baby. Y'all better kick with the Millers, baby, because you like this genie, baby.
And they were hard. That was concrete boys.
That was
hard work.
Yeah. That I never forget that, man. I wouldn't wish that on my work enemy. I
said that about jail time, but see, I understand, and I know we've had some people pipe in about it, but that comfortability, and that's where the people were saying the insanity was coming up. To look back now and think, I felt comfortable when I was locked up.
Yeah.
The weight was off my shoulders. It was almost like after that first drink back then, like I could breathe. Yeah.
And for you to say that, Tim, that was peace. A lot of people say, man, how you go up in them Cabrini Green or the Icky? They don't know. Because out in the regular world, you couldn't come out in the daytime because you were high. You know, because them guys, you buy a whole ball or something. Some of them apartments were empty. Go in there, Slim, man. You know, they put security on that door. Don't let him out. You feel safe.
Yep.
I was more comfortable in a empty apartment with some hooker I don't even know.
Right. The insanity.
The disease of addiction.
So you grew up in Chicago. Like, is it Chicago or Illinois or just
from 5 years old until I moved to Minnesota.
And
I used to hate Minnesota. I had a nephew living here. My sister, they've been here 20, 30 years. I said, man, I ain't going up there around them crazy folk. I used to down talk Minnesota. Boy, it's the best thing ever happened to me. Yeah, and from the wife to the drugs but I don't know if I got time. I want to tap
all the time. Bro, we've had some of these go till 11 o'clock.
Okay.
We are on no schedule. We're talking your experience, strength, and hope.
Yeah.
So we haven't even gotten sober yet, really, in your story. So you're missing your daughter's whole adolescence so far. We're choosing dope over any of that.
Yeah.
So, and I know we've kind of jumped because you talked about some stuff with like some sponsors, Kevin, this and that, but we are jumping back and forth, and that's okay. This is how we're telling your story, and that's quite all right. So we're going from, kind of, because I kind of want to hear this part where you got to a point where you hit your step one type of a situation, where you ended up saying, all right, I am done. I'm going all in on recovery.
Well, there's one part I missed, and this is the part and that You know, you ever really tried to stay sober? My mother and father, they had the altar faith. My whole family, they did. They said, Greg,
You had the support. You
I
had
did.
people
They
support.
did. They had jobs. They got me jobs. I'm a witness to it. My sister-in-law snuck me money sometimes. She rolled it one on the side. One I said, give me $5, give me $10. But you know, they would always say this little voice, God gonna change you one day.
Yeah, oh man.
And I would laugh. I'm like, boy, these people don't know. I should have got $20. You know, I didn't want to change. That's what they didn't get. So it's the difference in he can change and I want to change.
Yep.
I didn't want to change. I want to stay sedated. Especially when they came out with that song, Smoke Every Day. I said, there you go. There you go. Somebody here lift me up.
Song.
Yeah. I said, shit, because everybody else talking about Jesus. I didn't want to hear that stuff. But really, when I really want to stay sober, when I had 4 years, I bought a nice red truck. I was doing good. I came here to Vaughn and he told me, don't go back to Chicago. Stay here, man. Stay. I said, man, I ain't staying here with y'all. I got a settlement. That's one thing about a real dope fiend. Tell them you got some money coming. Man, I fired at that man house, boy. They had to light the candle. I said, he said, Greg, your check here. I said, it's been one. See you. And I came back to Chicago, and there was another drug along. But I met this 17-year-old girl. Now, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to say it. She lied and told me she was 18. The girl had 34 breasts, big breasts, looked like a grown woman to me until we went to a hotel and they asked for both IDs or something. And I had been already sleeping with her because we were sleeping in the truck. Yeah. And she smoking weed. I wasn't smoking no crack, but I was just drinking beer. Yep. And one day she said, take this blunt so you can loosen up. I'm like, you don't think it'll hurt me, do you? She said, just weed. But she didn't know I was an animal. I was a beast. My buddy said, Slim, you went from a silverback to a spaghetti back. You know, them old gangsters in Chicago. I said, man, ain't nothing about no spaghetti back. I'm a child of God. See, ain't no scary in that. But man, you know, one thing about a young person, and then she was turned 18 the next month. And then, man, you know, they say a needle in the haystack or something. Or you can have sex with somebody one time and get HIV. Yeah. That's like 100, very seldom. But there was one girl I had one sexual encounter with. I didn't see her for about a month or two, and I'm looking for her. And when she caught me, she saw me, she waving, Craig, stop. She didn't even have a cell phone. I said, what's going on? What do you want? I'm pregnant. I said, listen, let me tell you something. I'm in a program. I'm in the training to be a deacon at the church. You need to, if it's true, you need to get an abortion. And then I started stalking her. I saw her jumping in out of car with other people like I met her 7 o'clock in the morning. You're on 109th in Michigan. What am I going to think? You know, all these hookers walking and rolling. But do you know, you talking about step one and all these steps, it hit me like a bolt of lightning. When the girl had that baby and she went to court, the judge swiped my mouth and the baby mouth, and the judge said, that thing said 99.999. I don't know why they got so many nines. I read that result. Man, do you know I almost had a blackout? I mean, really, my heart started beating. I had to sit down for a minute. I'm 50 years old. What I look like, I'll be 68 years old when she get 18. You know my mind. And the judge pointed the finger. He said, guys like you need to be put under the jail. You know this is your kid. You slept with the girl. You entitled to pay child support. There I go. I said, before I do that, that's when I picked that genie up again. Yep. I don't know why I want to sedate my emotion. Things don't go right. I want to medicate. Right. And that part really got graphic. You know, when you getting high and when she didn't want me no more. And I went over there to see my daughter one day, and her brother was keeping my daughter. This is like a 2-3 month baby. I said, where the mama at? I don't know. She been gone with some other guy. See, my emotions again. Her mama was in the room pushing a pipe with nothing in. I said, well, you're going to have to work tonight, Mom. Come on, ride with me. And I started having sex with the mother. From that to the other cousin, all her little groupies. You know, well, Mary. Just bad. Give me a bag of weed, I tell you. I know what you like. So this whole cycle went on, man. Medicate my feelings and emotions.
Just burying them.
Burying them. Yeah. When I hit that pipe, like you said, a soother. Yeah. And I still had that soother today. I don't feel comfortable till I'm out here at Mall of America or Ridgedale Mall getting 10 pair of shoes, leave out of there. I feel much better. Yeah. I already got a closet full of shoes. I ain't never wore the one. And you talking about some insanity. The paper's still in the tub. I'm up there 50%. The man know my name at Men's Warehouse. He said, Mr. Ross, just like buying crack, give me 2 more. Yeah.
Yeah, we do that though.
Yeah.
That's what we do. It's that addict brain. It's that chemical imbalance or something.
Yes, the chemical imbalance, big time, man.
So so what is your clean date? What is that date? That date that last time you picked up?
On the month the 16th, the day before, October. My mother's birthday the 16th. I got high the 17th, the 18th. But when I got the treatment, it was 10/19/2015. And guess what? My mother embarrassed me. They had her birthday party. My sister and them, they always made me look back, or they ain't got nothing. They buying these big gifts, giving her cars with money and stuff. And then it was my turn. They said, Greg, what you get mama? I said, I ain't give her nothing. I said, shit. I'm waiting for y'all to leave so I can buy $20 of these dollars. Y'all get all this money. I said, Mama, what do you want for your birthday? I'll never forget that voice. She said, baby, I don't want you to buy no more drugs. I looked, I was like, oh, wow. You're in front of all these people. Yeah, they hit me in the heart, man.
Yes.
And do you know my mother, I know they said when we affect other people around her, when my sister called me 2 years later, she's in hospice. And you know how the preacher be in there? The guy from the hospital room, the nurse, they giving her this morphine or this drug or something. All my nieces and nephews sitting around the bed. That's amazing. When you dying, everybody get along, they get friendly. And I want to say, I remember they didn't even want me to have their number when they were living, but I'm going along with it. And that's when they and my mother said them same words again. She said, Greg, why are you here? I said, Mary said, come here, you down or something. She said, I don't care. Please stay in Minnesota and don't buy no more drugs.
She knew you're doing good in Minnesota.
Yeah. I never forget that. And see, people here remind me to this day. I'm supposed to be in Chicago today. My granddaughter's birthday is in the morning tomorrow.
Greg, you stay in Minnesota.
Yeah. But my network said, Greg, you ain't got it. They said, you don't even know. You in relapse mood and don't know it. See, all I got to do is hit drugs. I said, shit, let me sit my head down.
That's his fellowship.
Yeah.
That's his thing.
He said, Greg, you don't get it. You don't get it. And that's when Kevin mentioned Z. He said, I've been telling your nephew been in Chicago. I said, shit, probably once in 10 years. Why don't you fucking listen? I thought I'm going to kill his ass. I'm telling you, I'm going to choke him one of these days. Y'all going to read about it. He said, why you don't listen? We giving you the solution, and you keep running out there bumping your head. I'm like, okay, I'll sit down then.
Yeah.
But that inventory was a big piece there. But I want to get to the good piece.
Yeah,
now I want y'all to brace yourself.
We've talked experience. Come on.
Now we done heard all the drug laws, the self-esteem, and the emotion. Now I told y'all earlier about my will and God's will. Okay. When he told me that, and then that's my inventory in step 5. What he said made a decision to turn my will over to the care of God. And then the 5th step, it said, what did it say?
Our 5th step is we made a search, or
we made a
fearless. You know what? I don't want to. I always paraphrase some stuff. Yeah. So instead of doing that, what we'll do tonight,
admitted to God and myself and another human being.
Admitted to God, ourselves, and another human being.
The exact nature of my wrong. Yep. Now he stopped right there. He said, Greg, what is nature? See, I didn't know this AA stuff, y'all. All I know I do smoke, crack, lie, drink, and do wrong. I said, man, why you keep asking this? He said, I don't want to lose you. And that's why I love chat. He said, Greg, the nature means causes and condition. Then you know you're a self-seeker, Greg. Then you say you pay your girlfriend's phone bill as long as she do what you say.
As long as she do what you say.
Yeah, that's a self-seeker. You're seeking attention. You're doing stuff with motive. That's why I told you some of that stuff I ain't want to call in the next day. Right. Call me tomorrow. We're gonna finish. I ain't calling it more. He don't know. You know. Yeah. I hope he don't listen to this thing. But he know. He'll call me. Why you didn't call, Greg? I said, man, I was busy. I'm lying. That's why this supposed to be an honest program. I lied the first 2-3 years. Yeah. Sometimes not. But when he explained to me that nature is cause and condition, and then he said, come on, you're going to get on your knees. All that stuff you wrote down in 4, we're going to turn it over to God. And now I'm not trying to force this on nobody. I have to respect the
You're telling your story. This is what Greg did.
Yeah. Yep. Micah 7:19. Y'all might want to write that down. Micah 7:19. He said, all your sins is thrown in the lake of fire. He said, stop being yourself up, Greg. Now, God then forgave you. And he said, when God then forgave you, now here go the good part. Now you got to practice the serenity prayer. See? He said, look, Paul wrote a letter. I got to go there now. He said, forgetting those things behind me, but I'm pressing for the mark of the high calling of God. Now, I'm sorry, atheist and agnostic. This man told me to get free. He said, you can get naked up in here, Greg. I said, boy, you don't know me, Tim. I like that. A lot of places you ain't do that. Oh, stop it. One guy said, Greg, my wife here. What the fuck is wrong with you? I said, y'all don't understand. Buck naked honest, bro. Ain't nobody gonna take their clothes off in here. Yeah, but when he told me, oh, God had forgave me, and then the serenity prayer is to be practiced. God, that means love. Grant me the serenity, that's peace of mind, to accept the things I can't change. That's what I used to do. But look, courage to change the things I can. Who is that? That's me. And then you got to know the wisdom to know the difference. See, I don't know the wisdom to know the difference. You heard me just say, I want to go to Chicago. I want to do this. He said, you still want to do what you want to do. You can't be in a 12-step program and do what you want to do. What you want to do. Greg, it's not about you no more. No. It's about helping others. You done made confession with God in the first 6 steps. And now you've been redeemed. From 7 through 12, you're supposed to have a new mindset. If you got your Bibles handy, turn to 2 Corinthians 5:17. He said, any man that's into Christ become a new creature. Behold, old things passed away. And I like this part. He said, all things become new. I had an old truck, and I love that truck. I had over $20,000 put in. You remember that 99 Silverado? Yep. Man, when I came outside, the Bible said all things become new. When I saw my truck going and found out somebody stole it, the first thing came to my mind, I'm going to steal me somebody's truck. I'm going to show you that.
I'm going to get even.
I couldn't believe it. And some of the people I called in St. Paul, Mr. Brian Grandson, I told them, they said, don't you supposed to call your support group or something? Like, Taco, that's going to fall back on you. I said, yeah, I better. He said, man, I don't know. We're going to come for you, but do you know what you're saying? Take somebody else's truck, and what you going to do with it? See how that old thing can kick in?
Yeah, it comes back quick.
Yeah, right away.
Yep.
And then another guy I talked to, he said, Greg, you know what? Why don't you call the police? In Minnesota, they got some funny law. He said, I called the police, and they said, go to the police station. I went to the police station. I'm used to them sending the police to your house, so I'm freaking out. Look, I had another vehicle. And when I get there, he says, sir, go out and look for your truck. He gave me his badge number. He said, when you see it, you call me and we'll send a squad car out there. I said, this is the craziest stuff.
I'm doing your job?
That's what I said. He said, we short of staff. I came back home. I was still humble. I said, Lord, you got to show up and show out on this one now, because I ain't gonna be driving. I can't drive this car. I want the man to sell the car and buy me another truck. It's money to be made, right? A friend of mine said, Greg, why don't you call CarMax or call around? Right. God might have something bigger for you. But see, I'm back to that kid again, that fear. See, that little boy when it used to be on the chalkboard, when ain't nobody looking, fear kicks in. I'm like, I ain't picking that phone up. What y'all call a 1,000-pound phone? Yep. And some said, just dial the number and see. Do you know the first number I dialed, that man told me? Mr. Robinson, come on in. We got a brand new truck for you. $30,000. I said, no, you ain't got no truck. You don't get no dope fee on $30,000 at one time. I even did a side job once. I told a guy $5,000 or $10,000. No, he said, everybody else charged $10,000. Why you want $5,000? I said, mister, I'm going to tell you something. You give me $10,000. Oh, baby, it's going to be smoke in the city. He said, no, you better call A to Z or some of these other companies. That's too big of a job for me. So he said, oh, well, anyway.
We had a guy on, and he said like this. You might know him, Rick B. He does the 4-step workshop at 2218. Rick Bowman, we can say his name. And he came on and shared that you were out, and you shared about this for Greg. You were going from age of 5 to 50. That's 45 years of a certain mindset.
Yeah.
And I get in these rooms, and all of a sudden I'm surprised after I've been clean for 4 to 6 years, and a thought comes in, and I beat myself up. You had for 45 years, you had this thought.
Thank you.
It's going to take a little time for that instant thought. It's going to take some time to change.
That's right.
So
the book said it. This is not an overnight matter.
No,
that's why I don't beat myself up. When I make a mistake sometimes, I pray, ask God to forgive me, and I keep it moving. So
yes.
Yeah.
So but, 5th step, you're talking about that how important our 5th step is.
Yeah. That's getting back. That's really getting right with God.
Yes.
And now when you become God conscious, You got to walk around like a halo over your head. And see, this guy knew what to say to me. He said, Greg, he tried to identify with me with brickwork, and he couldn't reach me. He said, I want to say something. He said, you say you've been in prison, right? I said, yeah, I've been in prison. You know, I don't know what's wrong with me. I want the man to 12-step me.
Chat?
Yeah.
Kevin? Chat. Okay.
Yep. He said, you been in prison, right? I said, yeah, you know, Chat, soft-spoken. How you doing, Greg?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I've been in prison. What's going on, man? Why you asking me a question? I thought he's an undercover cop. You know, he started asking people too much information.
Right.
He said, you know those towers on the corner and the guy with the dark glasses with the 30-hour six? I said, yeah, what about it? Pretend that that's God. That's what God conscious means. They watch you 24/7. He said, that's a halo over your head, Greg.
That's good.
I said, oh, wow. It's like my mindset, man. He restored me to sanity with that piece right there. He said, God conscious means do the right thing when nobody looking. He said, yeah, you know, your girl out of town or this don't go right. He said, stop doing fucking temper tantrum. That's why when I got to leak over in step 6 and 7, that's how I know this book was written for me. That's the first sentence in step 6. This is when we separate the men from the boys.
Yep.
Now here I am sitting up there 6'6". You know Kevin, little short guy. I'm like, yeah, everybody want to punch him. Yeah, a lot of people say, I'm gonna get his ass. I told my buddy, don't bother y'all. He is helping us, you know. I haven't drank.
That's just how he knows that's him.
That's his demeanor. Yeah.
And that's what I love about this whole thing is I don't have to be, I can go move right on.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of us, thousands of us.
That's it.
And I want to spend my time focusing on this one man that gets under my skin.
Yeah.
But I also was taught, like, if that's getting under your skin, maybe that's what you need to hear.
That's what they told me. Because Chat, when I told you I left Kevin and went to Chat, he said, Greg, what did he ask you to do? He told me to meet him every day. Why he can't meet me? He said, what's wrong with you? The man said, meet him at a meeting, bring my big book. I told him, you come meet me at the meeting I want. He said, something really wrong with you. He said, you might need some outside help. Now I'm in my feeling. I don't need no outside help. I'm telling you, man, this program really turned me into, like my buddy said, cream
boys to the men.
Yep. And then he explained that to me. He said, do you know the difference between a boy and a man? Now, I'm raised by my brothers, my father. I seen him hit a mule on the side of the face and the mule buckle. I said, damn, I'm 10 years old. You know, so you see these gorillas, all these guys got big hands, right? He said, what's the difference in a man and a boy? I said, I'm a man. He said, no, you're not. He said, you know the difference, Greg? A man brings his paycheck home and gives it to the wife and let her pay the bills. That's what a man does. A boy takes his money and buy drugs or trick off with it. He said, now, which one did you? And that was another time that honestly, I was like, man, you know, I said, damn, I've been a boy for a long time. I always had an excuse. I got robbed.
Yeah,
this happened.
Something.
I owed my check out. My tire blew out on the way home. I had to buy a tire. I done smoked the half of the money up. I can go on with them lies.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why they call me a handful or something. You know, Greg, you think you're gonna make it? I said, shit, I don't know. Sometimes I tell you, I want to throw in the shower shit. Yeah. But when he got to 6 and 7, he got me another book, Drop the Rock.
Oh.
That's another
that over there,
yeah, that's the character defect and them shortcomings. And like they said, they have to use shortcomings, but really it's sin. Back to them 7 deadly sins. You can't say I'm in a 12-step program. You're still lying. You're still cheating, sleeping around, doing all that crazy stuff, Greg. You might as well be using drugs.
Yeah. Why get clean if you're going to act like you're using? Why you live like you're using? Yep.
They said if the drugs won't kill you, the lifestyle will. I'm a witness, y'all. This is my testimony. I don't have time to go have any treatment. Oh, yeah. When I first got to Turning Point, it's a rule they got called Rule 25.
Yep.
They put your social security number in. And the whole screen was green. And the lady looked at me. She said, what's the last 4 of your social? I said, 7. She said, what you gonna do different? See, I ain't want to be here. I said, I don't know why you asked me that. She said, I don't know if they're gonna award you, because look, that lady turned that computer around, man. They hit me. That little thing like that. The whole screen was green. 1985, 87, 86. She said, and I got a psychiatrist. They said, Mr. Ross, I see 3 things about you. And you don't know when you messed up and you want out. I'm like, what is it? Well, she said, I see 3 things about you. You've been intoxicated, incarcerated, or living in a treatment facility. Man, they hit me like a ton of brick. I'm like, so what are you saying? She said, I don't know if there's any help for you. What do we do with you? I'm saying that was a hurting feeling, boy. Now your mom and dad have been saying he ain't shit. You never fit in. You didn't get along with your coworker. You didn't get along with people at the meeting. You know, you just feel like you're in a world by yourself. But Kevin always said, Greg, I was worse than that. I said, oh shit, thank you. You know, that took some pressure off me, man. He said, oh, you're a baby, Greg. I was way worse than that. You heard his story. He said he went bankrupt. What he said, $1.5 million, and his dad had a business. He named some stuff. I was complaining. I had $130,000 settlement. He said some fucking pennies. I fucking gave that shit away. Talk about a couple of mil, Greg. I looked at him. I said, oh, I thought my story. He told me. And some old people told me that guy on Drew on their Facebook. He said, yeah, Greg, you know, Kevin Fowler, one of the biggest companies. He was way bigger than Mortensen. He named his big company. He said his father was an owner and he died, left all that to Kevin. I said, I see why he got all them damn Dodge Ram trucks and
all that money.
Yeah, all that stuff. I said,
Greg, do you know the point for yourself, the mind shift? Do you know when that occurred or what it was, the mind shift for you personally? Because you just shared about basically the world was doing all this to me. Everything was wrong. I was always, whether it was upset or incarcerated in a treatment or intoxicated. When did that change for you when you wanted something different? Do you know that? Was there a spiritual awakening? What was it?
The real spiritual awakening came after I got done with the steps. And I was going into my second year, right before my mom passed. When they said, if you want to stay sober, do the right thing for the right reason, because I ain't believe in paying nobody but the dope man. When I started paying child support, my daughter's mom, I've been running from, getting that money order, paying my own cell phone bill. See, my mother was a cushion. When I started, that's why I tell people, spend money on your recovery. Start putting $1 in the seventh tradition. You ain't gonna spend no money, bro, and go out there and use. It's like it was a psychic change for me. When I started spending money, and then one more thing. I owed internal revenue in this credit card, Capital One, these credit cards. I was in collection. And like Kevin said, contact them, Greg. It might not be as bad as you think.
Right.
And when I called them, people told them I was an ex-drug addict and stuff. I had a year clean.
Just got real with them.
I got honest. They said, well, we're going to just cut all that interest out. When I think I sent them $500. We're going to settle for one lump sum. And I had did a job or something. And it's like things start coming to me, getting better. I start feeling better about myself. That was the part. When you spend money on your sobriety, you tend to value it. You cherish it. You live a certain way. I love January 6th. Sobriety got to be my number one thing today. This guy said, read that for 12 months, Greg. Read that January 6th every day. And it worked. That's why they told me in step 1, a man's brain had been warped. See, I didn't know what he meant by what. He said, this all you talk about, gang, drugs, and prostitute. He said,
that's all you knew.
Yeah. He said, we're going to reprogram your hard drive. And you know, when you messed up, I said, what I got to do? First of all, don't go to no meeting around women. He said, stay away from the girls. Go to men's meet. Go to mechanical meet. That's why I was at New Hope every night. You remember Tim? He said, go to mechanical meeting. Stay away from the girls. Don't handle large sums of money and all that stuff, you know. I said, because he read my 4th step. I get triggered. I get money. My ego kicks in. Man, hell with them meetings.
I had money as my higher power for the first
That's right.
My recovery.
Don't give me no money, boy. One of them old fine girl with a little 6-pack. I'm like, yeah, she hell with them meetings, baby. Sit on my lap. See, that old man wake back up. I thought he was gone.
That psychic change needs to happen.
It did.
And it only happens with some work that you have to
do some work. When you spend that money on that recovery, bro, and then I made that list of them people I harmed and hurt, was one thing I didn't do. They told me to do. I don't know. Some things I don't want no memory. I don't want to wake up something.
Right.
And it's my mother. I wrote a book. That's the first thing on the first page.
So you wrote a book. What we read? Are you okay? What is the name of your book?
The 5 C's.
So I wanted to get to this, but I was working my way to it because you wrote this. When did you start writing this?
Last year.
So that's in year number 8.5, 9 of your recovery. So you just talked about in year 2, you had your psychic change about your spiritual awakening. Things started changing where Greg started doing some responsible stuff.
Yeah.
And putting some stock in his new life. when Chet started talking and Kevin started talking about reprogramming you, rewiring your thinking, what is that still in process, or
Yeah.
did that occur? Like, when did it really take hold? Would you say from year 2 to 3, or
About three to
okay?
4. And I'm gonna go a little deeper with
Yeah.
that.
'Cause we're going to spend some good time talking about this book.
Yeah.
I think it's a powerful topic, and what an accomplishment.
Yeah. And
But-
see, when them steps say character building,
Mhm.
shortcoming, he said, Greg, that's called sin. I'm gonna give it to you in the raw. He said, you're a Christian man. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it with you. That's why I know them guys love me. I said, why are you so nice to me? We just don't want you to fucking drink. You know how you talk.
Yeah.
I don't even know you. My job is that you don't drink again if you do the work. I said, okay. I looked at it differently. I said, okay. The 5 C's, when I talk about from the country to the city, that was my life. And I shared this story over at One Water Street. It's a treatment place on the second floor.
Yep.
And I was telling my story. You be careful when you're sharing at me, y'all. It was a guy in there. He was in treatment. He detailed books. And he came over and told me, he said, you should put that on paper, what you said. A lot of people don't overcome that. Because he kept looking at my teeth. Those your real teeth? I'm like, yeah, what? He said, man, the people I know that done drugs and all their teeth fell out and they were messed up. He said, God want to use you. Oh, wow. So he said, that's the first thing fall out your teeth. And I started putting it on paper. And back to when I said this spiritual awakening, I was able to go to my mother's funeral. And when I left there, when I said, I don't want to relive that. He said, Greg, you say you hurt your mom? Take the letter, write a note, make an amend, take it to a grave site, put it on a grave, whatever. I don't even want to see that environment. You know, I noticed my niece and them, everybody's strong in certain areas. They go out there and cut the grass. It's a done deal. I live like my mother, looking down on every day. Every meeting I chair, everything I do. I work, I drive.
Mom's watching.
Mom watching me. That's what he mean by everlasting life. See? He said, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Our spirit live everlasting. See? And but back to them steps, man. Some guys I work with, they want to go from step 1 to step 12.
Yeah.
I said, don't work like that, bro. And I don't know what to do, but some of them I understand though, because you know when you associate with these organizations, it's a code of honor and all this stuff. They got bylaws and all these rules, right? And this guy told me something. He said, Papa, I tell you, man. I said, you got to get honest with me and another human being and God making them in. If I tell you what everything, he from New Jersey. He said, if I tell you, I have to kill you right in this room. I told him, but look, you ain't got
to tell me that.
I said, some of that stuff you can just pray to God about.
Right.
You don't know. You
Well,
don't
I
know.
get it. I've had some people I worked with that they first, before they will share a fifth step, they bring up statute of limitations.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, what is the bounds of you having to report what I tell you?
Yeah.
And there is sometimes I refer some people to a priest.
I did. That's what I told him. I told him, go meet a wino on the bench, park bench.
Yeah.
Go.
You got to get it out.
Yeah.
You've got to get it out of you.
Pain shared is pain
lesson.
You know, Z was 12-stepping me 15 years ago.
Huh.
He said, oh, I said, man, I keep craving if he come. He said, talk about it. When you release it, it lightens the load.
Yep.
But I'm trying to be this man, you know, when you're security for the organization, you hold these guys in the full Nelson and you're the youngest and all your brother now look after our kids and whatever. That's why I be saying they don't know this. All my brothers now gone, but they said, Greg, I don't care what you do. Look after them. And that's still sinners in my mind. I'm like, damn, I want to say, shit, who's gonna look after me? Shit. You know,
there's that mentality we don't share feelings, men don't cry.
Yeah.
Bah, bah, bah.
And you got to live this tough life, and you really wasn't. You were scared to death.
Yeah,
fear.
100 forms of fear.
Fear.
We had this girl on, Jennifer J. She was talking about speaking stuff out of existence and lessening the burden that it holds on self by speaking it.
Release
and Savon, like you said, 12, and he's only, I mean, not only, but he don't have 12 years of sobriety. That says a lot for who Savon is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was telling me that back then. That's why I look at it now. I'm like, why did you keep drinking and drugging? You know, they said if you're going to carry the message, look in the mirror, help yourself first or something. I'm like, he was telling me this stuff. Kevin, no. He said, Greg, you've been hearing this shit for 15 years. What is wrong with you? I said, shit. I wanted my way on the highway.
Yeah, Kevin don't pull punches and he gives it to you raw.
He give it to
No
you, baby. A lot of
bullshit.
people, they walked out the meeting and left.
Nope.
He said, cut the bullshit.
Cut
Stop
the
acting
bullshit.
like a kid.
I've heard him say that.
Yeah.
Cut the bullshit.
Yeah. He said, it's a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
That's what you is, a fucking shit show. Oh, especially he said, give me your girl phone number. Because he asked me for Deborah's phone number. I said, what you? I said, oh, no, you done messed up now. He said, Greg, I'm going to see how you treating her. You know, I did start making me act better. Though.
Yeah.
I said, oh, wow, I didn't know they do that here. But
yeah, that's a little unconventional, but.
And then the barbecue, that was another yoke breaker. When your sponsor meet your spouse and people in your circle, you can't lie no more.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
How's Greg doing?
Yeah.
Oh, he been acting better and whatever. You be sitting there like a lump on the log. Boy.
Cat's out the bag.
Yeah. He said, we just want you to get better, big guy. That's it. You know.
And that's the thing about this program is I've noticed, and I like that you brought up, because I go speak at a treatment facility, the place I was an inpatient at, Fairview Riverside over the hospital. I went to a place called Lodging Plus. I get to go back there once a month and share. And the only suggestion I give them, because I don't like telling. I did a recovery a type of way that worked for me.
Okay.
But after doing this show with so many different people, I've heard people come on and talk about Buddhism. Yeah. I've heard people talk about just the church, meditation. Mm-hmm. Shit, I had a girl come on and talk about just cold turkey, but she was a miserable woman. But everyone's got their own path, and I'm real careful about sharing what I feel you should do.
Yeah,
I will tell women one thing and men, go to a same-sex meeting.
Yeah.
My whole recovery changed when I walked into New Hope Alano's men's meeting that Thursday night. My whole recovery.
Yeah.
It was something shed. I didn't have to worry about the girl,
right?
What I'm saying, putting on a show or zipper up. Do I look okay? Or am I going to say that? The only suggestion, anyone out there listening too, if you're thinking about recovery or you're in recovery, go to a men's meeting, try one, or a woman, go to a women's meeting.
Yeah.
Do that for yourself, for your own recovery.
Yeah.
Greg shared about it too. Once you start taking stock out into your own recovery, a lot of things start changing.
A lot of things change. Because you know what I thought recovery meant? So when you lose your settlement, your Shirley meat coat, your house in Indiana, I said, if I can get lots of money, I'd be saying it sometimes. If I can get $100,000, if I can get another meat coat, and I shared that in a group one day. He said, what the hell? So that must be your God. I said, what did you say?
Say again.
Look at what you said. That must be your God. So you think that stuff gonna give you fucking peace?
Right.
No. It's an inside job, Greg.
It's an inside job.
Your heart got to change. You ain't care how much stuff you got. I was like, really? That's why I said, man, I did get a whole cycle changed up. I thought if I got me another diamond ring and a different watch, I got a Movado watch. I went down all this stuff. But late at night, I got to look in the mirror and look at me. I'm like, you a creep. You know, I know this guy. I said, you can't fool yourself. I'm like, yeah, if I had $100,000, if I can move from Minnesota, I can buy me. I think Z bought a summer house. I'm gonna get me one. I'm gonna be his neighbor. Hey, bro, what you doing? Would that be so?
Well, then we learned. For myself. It was 4 years into recovery, 5 years into recovery for me, and I had some bills I didn't take care of. Student loans, IRS. They went into my bank account, and it was. Before I knew it, I was on Penn and Glenwood.
Oh, that's where I live. Penn and Glenwood.
I was just right over there. Before I was on my way to grab one. 5 years into recovery. By this great, I had lost my brother passed away 2 years into recovery. Relationship problems. I had some heavy stuff happen. Never did I think to use. I lost a little bit of change, and I was on my way to grab dope. That was I realized then, wow, I made money. I made a material thing my higher power.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy in recovery. You got to stay vigilant.
Yeah.
I have to stay vigilant and material. 9-step promises don't talk anything about money.
Nothing.
They don't. This program and doing this recovery for me, it was my brain tells me shit like that. And I do what you shared earlier. I go out and buy some shit. I'll buy some clothes or some shoes. For an instant quick, nice. That don't keep me happy down the road.
It's called a soother.
A soother.
They said those dopamines, Greg, when that feeling you got when you hit that pipe or or you what do you say? You hit the pipe. That feeling, that phenomenal craving from alcohol, or that first climax, and you bust a nut, or that rush, those dopamine. He said, "I'm dopamine. Want to be satisfied. Sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, man, I get up in the middle of the night, eat a cupcake." He said that's the dopamines want sugar. They still craving. That's what shocks me. I'm like, do I ever be normal again? They said, Greg, just take it easy. Don't buy no more drugs and alcohol, and just enjoy the process.
Right.
Yeah, because I be want to be normal tomorrow. You know, I don't want.
I want this not just like our adult, like instant.
Yeah,
feeling good.
Instant
I wanted that too.
Yeah,
it was a boop. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
this recovery is not overnight.
It's not an overnight.
It's a lifetime thing. But I get to live day at a time.
Yeah.
That was that concept that had me.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna happen all in a day or two, but I can get today. I can just worry about today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to real quick. Many of us have said to our maker, as we understood him, God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victor over my way, bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, thy will, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Always.
Yeah.
And Greg talked about that third step prayer earlier. I wanted to get to it. I've got multiple questions coming in about it. They're like, oh, because I labeled it. We got a Minnesota author on the show.
Yeah.
So you shared some stuff so far.
Yeah.
We've been going about an hour and 10 minutes. It's 9/11.
Yeah.
What you kind of touched on something. Was it someone at a meeting or somewhere after you shared your story that what put the book, the thought of a book into the process here?
I heard you say you was in college, right?
Yep.
This guy was in college. That's what he do. He detailed books.
Okay.
He was sitting in the thing. I didn't even know this. Now you talking about divine order. He came and asked me, he said, sir, have you ever thought of putting that on paper? I'm like, for what? What's the purpose?
After he had heard your story?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, if you put that on paper and give it to me, I'm gonna detail it. And he said, that's what shocked me now. He went straight to the top. He said, you could probably be a millionaire. I said, no fucking way.
He went after the wallet.
When he told me that, I said, now you really playing.
Give me a pen.
What am I going to do with $1 million? He said, no, really. Man, I started journaling, and he been communicating with me. And then my niece tapped on. She got 5 degrees. She a professor. Her daughter, girlfriend, they detail books. It's a whole group of people.
When you say detailed book, what does that mean? They put it in chronological order. They proofread it. Or...
I just did the right, like all the people's names and stuff.
Okay.
I couldn't even put my mother's name in here. They said, first person on the list. I want to acknowledge my mother. I couldn't say I want to acknowledge my mother, Fannie Mae Robinson and Irvin Ross. They couldn't do that. Even they deceased. He said, Greg, we can't put nobody's name. All these people named here, they have to change and let's detail them. They even rearrange.
So legal read all the stuff.
Yep. And the way it read, and I read it, I'm like, it's saying the same thing.
Okay.
But
so you shared your story somewhere, and this guy came up to you after and he said, you need to put this in a book.
Yeah. He said, Greg, I heard worse stuff than what I said, like I'm talking now. He said, and now it's selling like hotcake. That did get my eye. He said, that stuff you just said, and you're not ashamed to say it? I said, yeah. Yeah. I said, I was schooling the girl. When her mama relapsed, I was with the mama this day, and the next day I was with the daughter. I'll tell you, that lust spirit ain't nothing to play with.
No.
I was all over the place. And I said, yeah. He said, I guarantee you, you're going to be a number one. Look, today, my first day. Look at this. I'm not bragging, man.
Come on.
I went to a meeting this morning, and look at it. Look at this. Look at all these books I sold. One day, $20 a book.
And that's hustling.
That's hustling. This said, look, tomorrow I gotta go to Naple Grove. Sunday morning I'll be here. I got a plan. They said, yeah, Greg, save me one.
All right. So what I'm gonna do here is in the comment section, then it'll pop up on all the formats that I have. Is I'll put the name of the book. Do you want me to put your name and phone number? How do you want? Because I'm gonna have here. Let me hold that for a second.
Oh, and look,
I'm gonna have
next
some
Thursday
people interested in wanting this. So
yeah,
to get this book, you can reach out to me directly, and I will get in touch with Greg. I'm gonna put Greg's information on on the platforms here with his phone number. You're okay with me putting your number out
Yes,
there?
definitely. And let me say this. Or after next Friday, go to Amazon.com. You're going to see the 5 C's. I got a contract with Amazon and Barnes & Noble after next Friday.
That's going to be in Barnes & Nobles eventually?
Yeah. They get $2 a book. I signed contract. They sent me a thing. I signed e-sign. I'm on I signed e-sign. And my niece going to do something to my phone. If you ain't got cash, you can tap my phone, with
technology, baby. Crackhead with a phone payment.
When them folks told me, boy, I said, look at God. Won't he do it? I've been praising him every day.
So, like, you did this independently, correct? You had some help from some resources.
Yeah.
And I don't need dollars if there is one, but was there an advance?
Yeah. I spent over $2,000.
You did.
I paid $750 to get it off the ground for the people to start detailing it.
Okay.
And then it was $250 for something else. The last money I sent them is $600.
So was that out of your pocket, or did a company? So no, you didn't get an advance from Barnes and Noble.
No. All this came from me.
Yeah.
I did a job last week. That's why I said God supplying my need. When it warmed up, I made like $800 and then another $1,000. You know, I went on and put that into the book. You know, they say you got to sow a seed. You got to pour it in your business. So who knows? It might take a year or two. Because to make the book, to print the book, like Barnes and Noble, I'm selling it for $20. They make $2 each book. $2 a book.
And that's just for them putting on the shelf.
Putting on the shelf.
All right. But then there's a cost to make the book.
To make the book is $6.50.
Okay. So you're already out. Yeah, you're at like $9 almost.
That's what I'm saying. So hey, it's no problem. If it take another year, as long as I can lay brick and let that just, and the money, look, it just automatically rolled into my account. I'm like, look at God. Whoever would have thought?
Bro,
that's why I said, boy, you can't. Jeremiah 29:11 said, what? You don't know what I got in store for you. You just got to stop doing some stuff.
Right.
I hope you don't mind if I go a little deeper.
Come on.
Go to John 15:7.
Come on.
He said, if you abide in me. Oh, Lord. I didn't know what abide meant when this guy chap was talking. He said, you know what abide mean, Rick? I said, no. Obey. And my word abide in you. See, ask for whatever you desire and it will be done. I said, you got to keep your clothes on. You can't be sleeping around. I'm talking about me. I couldn't do it. It's people trying to say something to a girl at a meeting. God always showed up. When she heard me talk, she said, I don't want to mess with you. I said, I'm a child of God. One woman at my church over here at Master Fee. So my God told me you're going to be my husband. I said, baby, you can't do what my God do. Can you walk on water? What are you talking about? I said, can you turn water into wine? The lady got up and moved. I don't play with this. See, when you had them spirits on you and God removed them from you, the drugs, the alcohol, and the lust, I will be crazy. It's like me going back in a burning building. See, God brought me out of a burning building and I get clean and all fresh and put a little cologne on and run right back up in there. That's insanity. Yeah. So I'm on this side. I want to stay on this side. I thank God for his word. He said it. Look, go to Matthew 11:28. What did Jesus say? Look, come unto me. See, that's submission. He didn't say into, unto. Come to submission. I got on my knee. He said, come unto me. All ye that labor, I will labor for one more. He said, heavy laden. I had my ex-wife didn't want me and this didn't want me. He said, I will give you rest. Now watch this. Take my yoke upon you. Boy, if you don't know what that yoke means, that's that word, bro. He said that yoke means they put a yoke between two mules for them to work, go side by side, or horse or whatever you want to call it. He said, take my yoke. That's his word. And then he said, now learn of me. 2 Timothy 2:15. He said, what did he say? Study to show thyself approval, a workman who need not to be ashamed, dividing the word of truth. See, he said, learn of me, for my yoke is easy, my burdens are light. That's why I tell some people keep relapsing. I say, you know why you keep drinking? You ain't got no word in you. And them same people, oh, Greg, you know, you killed me with that Jesus stuff. I said, who your higher power? Well, I'm an atheist. I'm an agnostic. That's why you got that pipe in your pocket. You probably got some Troy in your shoe right now. See, they used to be me. I used to leave church and go to the crack house. I'm gonna close with it. The Revelation 12:11. When he told me 12:11, he said they came to by the blood of the Lamb and their testimony. That empowered me to write this book. He said, Greg, they came to what? They came to their senses. You came to your senses. Kevin said, Greg, you had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. You're making better decisions. You've been paying your child support. You know, you got to encourage an alcoholic brain. See, he said, and then it's another one in there, the book of James. I was double-minded. He said, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. He said, you know what double-minded means, Greg? You make all kind of plans, but never a decision. You're double-minded. You say you're going to do this, but you end up doing this. You say you're not going to do this. And then Paul wrote a bigger letter. He said, the things I say I'm not going to do, what? I end up doing. See, that's your flesh.
That's of the flesh.
Your flesh that dwelleth no good thing. Yeah. You can have all the good intentions in the world. When that flesh woke, you've been sneaking around on your wife or girlfriend, significant other, whatever. Baby, it's a matter of time. They told me this here. Greg, the guilt and shame what keeps us sick. I'm like, what? Yeah. The guilt and shame what keeps us sick. I'm like, oh, wow. It's about our behavior, man. I love the book say 10% was the alcohol and drugs. Yeah. 90% was your behavior. Some you didn't like about yourself. Then you have to put alcohol in your body to feel comfortable. You're looking for approval. We self-seeker. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your phone number?
763.
Yep.
203 0621.
All right, and hey, listen, I put it's the 5 C's by Greg Robinson, and I'm putting his phone number down. You can reach out to him directly. Feel free to leave a voice message if you're interested in the book. Otherwise, you guys all know, reach out to me. I will have contact with him. Yeah. You are the first active author I've had on the show. I had another gentleman named Zach Coombe who's on the show. He then wrote 2 children's books, a third one, and now his story out on book. I'm really excited to see what this is going to do. I'm more excited to own my own book. Yeah. Because we're going to have a couple in here. Yeah. But we have power in our stories. That's the reason why we share experience, strength, and hope. That's why there's this, the doctor's opinion. There's stories in our books to relate and find ourselves through other people's stories, to feel like we're not so alone. Yeah. We need to be part of, not apart from type of a deal. Yeah. And I'm grateful for you coming on and sharing. This is kind of the part of the show, like I'd say, is there some things that you want to talk about that I may have missed, or that you want to make sure you get off your chest to the audience listening, or is there anything we didn't explore that you want to share about? Because then I'm going to get to a few questions, and then we'll get to wrapping up.
You about to wrap?
No. What I'm saying is, no, we got all the time in the world. What I'm saying is there anything you'd like to share about that you didn't get a chance to share about yet?
For me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm now fit to hit the ball at the park. Y'all brace yourself. When you see those steps on the wall where it said we admitted we were powerless over alcohol. See, we admitted it, but I asked a question this time. Why am I saying this? What makes me powerless? I'm going to take my time with this step 1, because they told me, Greg, this is the only step you got to work to perfection. Watch this now. I want y'all to grab your pencils, because these words, I was lost when I heard it. He said, look, we're powerless over alcohol, Greg. He said, we have an allergy to alcohol. And I was like, what do you mean, an allergy? They use a lot of corn. They use sugar to cook it with. I should have known that from the hooch in the county jail. Clear, go down there and let the air out that bag, man. We had all the fruits and stuff. They use corn, sugar, and then beer. They use barley leaves. They named all these ingredients. Watch this now. Take your time. And when they put them together, Greg, now this ain't for normies. You guys can have one beer or one shot and go to and stop. This don't apply to you. He said, Greg, when they put those ingredients together and they touch your tongue, it's called, in your bloodline, it's called histamine. I'm going to pause right there. Google histamine, Hestimine. The histamines in your blood trigger, you get an allergic reaction. Remember I told y'all a minute ago, the dopamine's in my alcoholic brain? Mm-hmm. He said, Greg, when the last time you had one beer and stopped? I said, man, you playing with me. There's no way I'm gonna stop. That you qualify. You're in the right league. You're in the right league now. We be going somewhere. The way he was talking to me made me like I was a psycho. Now we get in the ball and roll. I'm gonna choke it one of these days. I don't want to go to jail. But he said the histamine, and then he gave me 2 more, man. It was real good. People allergic to seafood, and I know this too. My brother's wife.
Right.
You eat shrimp, their eyes swell up.
Yep.
People allergic to peanuts.
Yep.
He said, "Do you know the glands in their
where you're going
throat
with this?
and they choke them?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "When we put alcohol in our body, we get allergic reaction." That's what I bought it to. I should have said that when I told you step 3. I was convinced. He said, we on page 22, the last paragraph. He said, we put any alcohol into our system, something happened. And they asked me what happened. I end up in your house, in his house, her house, on the north side. Ain't no way I go up in no Cabrini Green at 3 o'clock in the morning with nothing in my system. He said something happened. Yeah. Or either like to put a wig on to go in the gas station, rob people. You know, I see that crime went bad on that cop picture. I said, I done that shit in 1977, 76, you know. You know, you got to lead by example. You know, one of my buddies talking about, man, Slim, all your nephews saw. I was glad Z went to prison, though, Cole. Ralph, Mike, all my family, all they did go to church, go home to school, don't get in no fight. I'm like, we had to run home from school. We had to fight the different opposition. Right. I've been traumatized from 4th grade, 3rd, 4th grade. It's been a fight all my life. That's why I feel security from my family, my brother and them to tell me, Greg, if something happened to one of them, you go up there. You ain't doing that no way. You know, I'm like, damn, you just kick me under the bus. Wow. You ain't going to school. I saw you hanging out with your buddy. So when you got that mindset and you grow old, and do you know none of these people talk to me?
Really?
I done put my life on the chopping block for them. No, I don't want to talk to you. I said, I'll be damn. I wish my brother here. You know, look at your investment. We was watching these damn people, and now we only have a conversation with them, boy.
I heard someone talk about this. They share, and I thought you were going this way with this, but the seafood, like if you have a seafood allergy and you eat it, your throat closes up and you damn die. Peanut allergy, same thing.
Yeah.
The difference with our allergy, though, it's almost complete opposite, because someone with the seafood allergy or peanut allergy, they'll eat a little, but then they'll stop because they're only trying to die.
Yeah.
Our dumbasses,
we want more.
We want more.
Yeah.
It's like a complete opposite, which, whoo, yeah. Zavon, I do. He still talks to you. Zavon he's interacting. I love Zavon.
Yeah.
He's interacting tonight.
Yeah, I wish I had listened to him about 20 years ago, how much money I would have. But you said it, though. You know, those dopamine.
Yeah.
He said in a dopamine in a normal person brain touch the stove and it's hot. Their brain said don't touch it no more. But an alcoholic brain, we touch it, we get excited. Oh shit, we touch it again.
We touch it again.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be different this time.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I burnt that finger. Maybe if I had this finger.
Yeah. See, you're a real alcoholic, Tim. You just told us.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to read something. April 4th. Most of us will face choices that challenge our recovery. If we find ourselves in extreme physical pain, for example, we will have to decide whether or not we will take medication. We will have to be very honest with ourselves about the severity of our pain, honest with our doctor about our addiction and our recovery, and honest with our sponsor. In the end, however, the decision is ours, for we are the ones who must live with the consequences. Another common challenge is the choice of attending a party where alcohol is being served. Again, we should consider our own spiritual state. If someone who supports our recovery can attend the event with us, so much the better. However, if we don't feel if we're not up to such a challenge, we should probably decline the invitation today. We know that preserving our recovery is more important than saving face. Last paragraph. As such, decisions are tough ones. All these decisions are tough ones, requiring not only our careful consideration but the guidance of our sponsor and our complete surrender to a higher power. Using all these resources, we make the best decisions we can. Ultimately, however, the decision is ours. Today, we are responsible for our own recovery.
Yes.
We are responsible for our own recovery.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, come on. What else did we miss that I want to hear you talk about?
Well, I just wanted to get that step 1 out the way about the allergy piece.
Yeah.
And we all did insanity, you know.
Histamines, or what'd you call those?
Histamine, Hestimine, histamine.
I've never heard the terminology of that. I didn't know that's what that was called. That's in us.
Yeah. It's in us. He says, Greg, it's in your blood. I was so messed up. That's why I think he must have, sponsors say there's no dumb question. So when they told me about the histamine, I was laughing. I think I asked Chat this one day. I said, hey, Chat, what if I go down to that hospital, North Memorial, and get a blood transfusion? You think I can drink again? He said,
that's a dumb question.
He said, Greg, are you serious? You really want to drink? I've been drinking all my life since I was 13.
Right when you started saying that, I was like, I wonder if my brain, honestly, I was like, I wonder if I
got a blood transfusion,
then I won't have that allergy.
Yeah, get all this blood out of me because this damn stuff is.
It's also
Zavon is a good man though. Boy, he had 2 boats one time. I thought I was laying back dreaming. I had them boats. I be riding with some white blondes on the boat. Come on, ladies, party on me. Kevin said, "You going to hell."
Listen, Zavon's a beast. He shows up every Thursday. He's of service. He handles the money.
I'm proud.
He's at work. He's sponsors.
Yeah.
Zavon's in there doing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of the biggest feats I can say for him, Dave R. was his sponsor. Is his sponsor, and he's still in the rooms.
Right.
I've met more men that walked out of the rooms because of Dave.
Me?
There you go.
I was.
There you're one of them.
To meet him every Sunday at 1:00. I said, motherfucker, I'm a man like you. I'm saying, I went to 3 sponsors before I met Kevin. But you told me, if you don't, what he said, if I'm not going to challenge you, you don't need me.
Right.
See, that said well with me. If I don't make you feel uncomfortable, Greg, you should find somebody else. And I start coming back to right now, every Tuesday night, I go to the big book study. Yeah.
That's why I love the fellowship. There's so many different. That's a praise I say to Zavon, and I love Dave Robinson. I don't get it wrong. I love this man. But I just hold Zavon on another level for being able to make it through and not let Dave get under his skin where he walked out the doors.
Yeah.
And he's still here doing it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Real quick side note. This man out here, he came and sat by the window. His name is Chuck Cohn, and he's on a mission. He's got this upstairs. It's called the Soapstone Factory. He had this vision, and he deals with a lot of some mental health stuff, and he's been through a woman broke him. I shouldn't maybe put most. He shared about this, but he had a mental break about 20 years ago. Disappeared from life, psychosis, and just shut down. And God brought him back. He woke up one day, Pop, I'm going to make soap for the world. I'm going to make this special soap. I'm going to pray into it. I'm going to pray over it. I'm going to make it all natural, and I'm going to give it all away. And he's been on this mission for 5-6 years. Before he came to Will Work for Recovery, he was at another facility, and things happen where because of where he was at, he was taken advantage of a little bit. They saw, oh, free? We'll take you. And then they're over there selling it. Down here, We'll Work for Recovery. If you want to donate for it, awesome. The money goes to the house. But Chuck's in there making it left and right.
What?
This.
Oh.
And he made this for you. No. I wasn't. The reason I'm telling you this, if you want, you can give him money. If you want to donate for whatever. But what I'm saying is every guest I have on, he makes him a bar of soap. Oh. But he has a big basket out there for the people who come to the meeting. And I've had him on the show. His goal is to have just 8 billion people to have this soap. He wants everyone in the world to have a bar of soap. Oh. This is from Chuck.
Yeah, I had one of these one time when they was on 2nd Street over there.
Yeah.
This is good soap.
Yeah. So that's from Chuck for you. Every guest that comes in here, I forget to do it. But before every show, he comes and hands me a bar and say, make sure to give your guest this.
Yeah.
So that's from Chuck.
You got on here anointed olive oil, coconut oil, all that's in the Bible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's very spiritual.
Because I tell people, my doctor went back to the book of Genesis. Because I'm pre-diabetic. I'm up to 250.
They got you on metformin?
He said, no, eat fruits and nuts. Because I asked him how he's so slim. He said a lot of almonds. I ate a smoothie in the morning. I ate a salad for lunch and a light baked fish or something.
Okay.
But
you losing weight then?
No. Because at night I told you I'd be eating them cupcakes and
I do that same.
I'm laying in the bed eating cake.
I do that.
I'm gonna tell you, Attica Loan's in bad company. I have to tell on myself when I'm by myself, man. I'm telling you, man. Sometimes my girl pissed me off. I go out to Mall of America and just start shopping.
Spending.
Them dopamines, man. I want to get satisfied. I'm gonna show her ass. spend all that money. And
That's like, hey, Dave Robbins, you say that, like, you get mad, I'm gonna go drink at you.
yeah,
I'm gonna get drunk at you. I'm gonna go spend at you.
yeah,
I'm gonna go buy something at you.
yeah, yeah.
That's that thing we got upstairs here.
Something about that anger kick in.
It's a daily reprieve. I got to do it every day. I got to stay vigilant on this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need you to pick a number. I need you to pick a number, Greg. 1 through 110. Any number.
Number 8.
Number 8. If they made a movie of your life, which actor would you want to play you?
If they made a movie of my life?
About your life. Who's the actor playing Greg Robinson?
I would like to pick Richard Pryor.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, the man running down the street on fire. Remember that?
You remember the stand-up when he lit the match?
He told the police, he said, where you going? He said, if I start running, I'm going to die. I said, Richard, that was my day. Richard Pryor, boy.
All right, we got one more. 1 through 110.
Number 3.
Number 3. What is your goal that you'd like to accomplish during your lifetime?
I would like for my book, The 5 C's, to be global. I want to have it written in Spanish, German, like the big book. I want to reach Indonesia, anybody of different, all over the globe.
I got it zoomed in on your book right now.
Yeah. That's my prayer.
Is there a little part that you'd like to read out of it? One paragraph. Pick something. Just read something out your book for us.
Oh, wow.
Anything.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Okay.
All right.
Let me get a light here now.
Oh, here, watch this. Look at this. We were with the technology. Give me 1 second, Greg. I got you, buddy. All right. We want some light for you. Yeah. I got light for you.
I got it. I need to see.
All right.
I'm going to read. This book is dedicated to my mother and always believing in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. My father for teaching me the importance of hard work. My siblings for showing me love and what it means to look out for each other. And I just tell you that. Mm-hmm. Look out for my kids, Greg. The members of my village, that's y'all, who are keeping me inspired to be the best sober version of me that I can be. And to my niece for helping me share my story. Most importantly, this book is dedicated to every addict or any part of their road to sobriety. You got this.
Nice.
That's on the first page.
That's beautiful. I have
my mother's name in it. They say, hey, you can't do that. You got to say mother.
Is that just for safety? I mean, or
they say it's the part of detail in the book. My mother did and going, I'm like, who's gonna sue me?
But maybe it's just it doesn't read as well or something. Yeah. It's one less thing a reader has to remember. Yeah, there's reasons. They got all the scientific crap behind that.
Yeah. Even all my brothers in here, I had their names. You said, oh no. I said, but they all deceased. Greg,
it don't matter.
You don't know. They kids, somebody can come after you. So shit.
And then they'll be like, hey, I heard you sold 10 million copies.
Yeah.
I want mine.
Right. And he said, you don't want that.
And then what did you have? I know that I already passed the point where we usually wrap the show now, but I have another question about this. So for like the legal, did you have to hire a lawyer? Or how are you safeguarded that no one goes and steals that name? Did you copyright the name of it? How does that work?
Oh, yeah. My copyright. I signed something where nobody could sign it.
So no, I know someone keeps coming at me about this podcast. I've been doing this for 3 years, and they're like, you haven't copyrighted the name of your show. I'm like, nah.
Yeah. The copyright can't be. I signed. They got a thing on my phone where I had to do electric sign.
Yeah. I'll talk to you after the show about some legal stuff.
The copyright. But this is kind of, like the royalties and all that stuff. I signed all that over to my niece. Okay. My niece and her daughter. Because my kids, they all smoke marijuana. I don't want them to kill themselves.
Right.
If I died, I want this book to circulate.
Right. And you trust your niece and her daughter to take care of stuff. And her daughter, she's getting married this summer. She wants me to give her away. This girl's a doctor downtown Chicago at North. Where's the Northwestern Hospital or something? Yep. North Memorial Hospital. So you trust them to take care of it?
Yeah, I believe it. Because when I thought about it and started writing it, she was the one. And I really hope she listened to this part. Because when the other guy was going to detail the book, he was talking $10,000, $15,000 or whatever. He must have counted my money. I need at least $5,000 to get started. I said, I ain't going to write this book.
Right.
I got my money getting low. And my niece brought this new doctor. Her name is Ariel. Yeah, Ariel. Dr. Ariel. She's a nice young girl. Yeah, she a nice girl, and she said we can do it for less than that. So I sent her $1,000, and then the other places, the copyright. I mean, the people did the print and
Right.
all that. That's why I'm saying I'm taking the money now.
Yep.
If they chose to, they don't have to pay me now or when the book comes, whatever. So.
What is the release date? Do you have a date yet?
Yes, not next Friday, the following.
Oh,
Friday.
so we're just 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Hey, and plus, I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. I told my niece I don't want to get too big headed. Y'all told me in this program, stay in the middle. Stay. Wear this program like a loose garment. I think that's page 132.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
She said we're gonna fly in and we're gonna have a table set up for you at a hotel downtown
where you can
for
sign
your book
books.
sign and all this. I said, you give me that money. Put that money back in my bank account. I've been buying these damn books. My nephew used to laugh about this. We ain't selling books. Well, now I am. Shit, because this brickman wearing a toll on me. I said, I was praying though, y'all. I said, God, you got to give me a vision to make $1 million.
Zavon, you hearing this?
Yeah. I said, I want to make $1 million, but I don't want to get dirty. I just don't think you can make it. I think you can make it. It's too many entrepreneurs. People are making ink pens. I know people make ink pens, and I invented the door stopper.
Right.
And these people millionaires. I said, I'm gonna write a damn book.
Hey,
shit.
Hey.
You know who knows?
The way I see it is that if something I'm doing could help a person,
yeah,
and to me that pays. That's
that means a more. Yeah.
I mean, the guy who wants my money for my bills don't care.
Yeah,
he wants that money.
That's right.
But all right, cool. Will you meet? Don't go nowhere. I'm gonna close up the show now. Oh, I do have one more question for you though, and this is just a fun, out of left field, fun little question for you. Greg, if you could have any superpower, what would that superpower be? Any superpower, you know, like in the movies, like Superman, and any superpower, what would it be?
I would be. That's what you just said. Is Superman.
Superman.
And I'm going to where that place, Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro.
I'm flying over there. He said everything over there pretty.
Everything.
I said, drop me off. I'm getting a walk. I did say that. You know, my niece know I got issues, right?
Yeah.
She said, Uncle, if you really get big with this book, where would you want to end up? Because she wants to travel. Let's go to Cancun or Hawaii.
Right.
I said, no, you got to give me no round trip ticket. Just give me a one-way ticket to Rio, and y'all can go back. I really told y'all ain't got to come. What y'all coming for? To tell something?
Like, Greg said, I'm going to walk into the sunset.
I'm going in by myself out on the beach. Thank God for deliverance.
Hey, it's what we get to do nowadays.
Yeah.
Greg, I appreciate you coming on and getting a little vulnerable and sharing some things. I really do. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for asking me.
Heck yeah, it's an honor. And here's one thing I'll ask you online and on air is, would you be willing to come back on the show and do it again?
I have no problem with it.
All right.
When they said when the hand of AA asked you to come up, you can't turn that down. This stuff saved my life, man.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff saved my life.
All right. I got you on tape saying you're coming back.
Yes, I'm coming
Mr.
back without a doubt. Yes, sir.
Mr. Bookman.
Yeah. And I didn't want to be a big book thumper.
You didn't. Hey,
you know,
listen, we share from our experience, strength, and hope. Yeah, and you dropped some scripture. You dropped some things that have made an impact in Greg's life.
Yes.
And maybe if it helped one person tonight that's listening,
that's it.
To me, I'm grateful. That's all I need is one person to say, hey, that show helped me tonight. That's why I do this. That's exactly why I do this. We had a man, it was 6 months into doing this show out of 2218. And you heard me at the beginning. I said, you're worth, listen, anyone out there watching, if no one's told you today, I love you. You're loved. Yeah. You're worth this life. You just heard Greg talk about getting. And I say this all the time, and I mean it. So I remember when a man grabbed me, and he put his hand on both my shoulders. He's like, Tim, you don't ever have to use again. And you're worth this life, and I love you. Yeah. He didn't know me. And that was weird for me to hear another man say that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that for someone else. And I get choked up kind of thinking about it. And we got my number's going across the bottom of the screen, and it always has. And this man sent me, and I still got it in my phone. He sent me this long message. He said, I've been listening to your show for like 3 months, and I've been thinking about killing myself, and I'm lonely, and I don't think no one cares about me. And He's like, you're the first person to tell me that I'm loved in like 2 years. And because of you, I didn't kill myself or something.
Oh, wow.
And this man reached out to every year on his sobriety. He's got like 5 years now.
Okay.
To me, that's why I keep doing this. I pay this. I'm gonna put a video out because now I'm doing this little TikTok shit. That's why the phone's out here. It's a new thing I'm starting, some TikTok thing. It's that child shit. But and I made a video for it. I just haven't released it. But I was at the coffee store 2 mornings ago. Over at Cup of Java over right off of Penn down in Bryn Mawr.
Yeah.
And this lady came up to me because I make once a week now. I make a little video saying, "Hey, check out the Attitude." I'm sitting in here. Check out the Attitude for Gratitude show every Friday night. We talk about recovery and little advertisement. And there are a lot of people watching them. I didn't realize someone the other day said, "Tim, you had like 30,000 times it played."
Yeah.
This lady came up and she was like, "Hey, you're Attitude for Gratitude. You're Tim." I'm like, "Yeah." So we were talking. She was like, "How much money you make?" I was like, "I don't make none." She's like, No. How much money you pulling in?" She didn't believe me. I don't have sponsors for this show. And I tried to, I was like, I pay a monthly subscription. I pay money to make this show happen. I've had some people approach with sponsorship and I turned them down. But one was a tobacco thing and one was like one of these little vape things, but whatever. And it's like, would I get paid? I'm not using tonight. And one man didn't hang himself. That's my pay. You know what I'm saying? For me right now, that's cool. But of course, I hear like Joe Rogan or something. Like, oh, yeah, I'll take some money.
Yeah.
But this is okay. I'm okay with this is my payment. Getting to hear your story.
Yeah.
Getting to hear, bro, you were talking about some grimy shit you used to do out in Chicago.
Yeah. But let me just say this.
Come on.
Like you said about that guy, that's when you say a stranger. And when, because I had 2 sponsors. Chat was here and Kevin here.
Mm-hmm.
And when they was asking me certain questions, God will and all that. And I would still have some pride in that stuff in me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, why y'all asking me all these questions? What difference it make? He said, Greg, we just don't want you to drink. That's so simple.
It's
Page
simple.
13. Simple, but not easy.
Our brains don't understand someone else caring
about us. He said, we just don't want you to drink.
Right.
Listen to all this stuff. You've been in and out of treatment, jail. He said, when does it stop? It's like, like you said, a tunnel thing. I was like, oh. I didn't know what to say. I was in a room with 2 guys. I
didn't even know. Didn't
know.
And a big thing for me was, why do you give a shit? Like,
right.
But then the longer we've been doing this, for me, I realized helping someone else not drink keeps me from drinking, keeps me from putting a needle in my arm, keeps me from robbing my mama's purse.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And it is that 12-step stuff.
Boy, you said my mother. That's why I owe her man. I stole more money from her boy, church. Yeah, she was the church treasurer. She put everybody put their dues in a white envelope. Me and my nephew Andre. That's why when he died, I was like, damn. He really was an asset to me staying sober. Because when you partner in crime, you did everything together. My other nephew, Mel, he died throwing that methamphetamine. And when you thought you raised them and you put good seed in them, his father was a contractor. Melvin saw good in him. I had to look out for him, but he didn't want to stop. He came in on me. I don't know if you met him or not. He was sitting there. It was
over at New Hope.
The light skin.
I remember.
I'm up at the microphone talking about, this program working. He said, I was saying, oh my God.
I remember that was a few years ago, wasn't it?
It was. I said, Mel, ain't nothing wrong with getting high, but don't come up
don't come in here getting high.
These people looking at me.
I tell that about people who smoke. Like, if you do go ahead and do you. I'm not going to beat you up, but you in a room full of.
Thank you. We know what's wrong with you, bro.
Yes. Like, come on.
But the book said we couldn't differentiate the truth from the false.
Nope.
He couldn't see it.
Nope.
You don't know I'm high, You just paranoid. Boy, you talking to the biggest dope fiend ever lit a pipe.
And that's the thing. We know. We know. I know.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right. Look at that. We almost went 2 good hours.
Yes, 10 o'clock. I do need to be moving because I got to be at work at 7 in the morning.
I'm just wrapping up now. Okay.
But let them know after next Friday, if they don't want to contact me, go to Amazon.com. You're going to see the 5 C's on there.
All right.
Yeah.
And I got your number on here, people.
Right.
We'll link it up. We'll get you. We're gonna sell some books.
Okay.
We're
Thank
gonna sell
y'all.
some
My
books.
name is Greg. I'm an addict and alcoholic. Thank y'all for letting me share.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank
you. I'm gonna close up. Just hold up 2 minutes. I'll be done.
Take your
If
time.
you're out there struggling tonight, please reach out. You heard him talk about some places. New Hope, Alano, 22. They go to Solutions on 2nd, 6 a.m. in the
Sahara
morning here. Sahara Club. You heard New Hope, Alano, Fridley, Alano. We're changing places, or what was the treatment for?
Sahara Club.
No, what was the treatment spot you went to?
Oh, Turning Point.
Turning Point.
1500 Golden Valley.
1500 Golden Valley Road. I talked about, what was the church you said? Waters of.
No, the church was Shiloh or Calvary down the street here. Pastor McAfee.
Pastor
the guy
McAfee.
was over there for Black Lives Matter.
Yep. Pastor
That's
McAfee.
but be careful for the men on there. Be careful when you go there now. No women, they'll see you dressed nice and come up and just say, God told me he gonna be my husband. I said, baby, you just lied in God's house. I don't even know you. They look at them clothes, y'all.
We don't gatekeep none of this stuff. You hear we screaming from the mountaintop how we recover, where we go to find our recovery, and you can do it too. So if you're struggling, reach out. My number's been going across the bottom of the screen. Get connected. Get part of this. You heard he shared about Chet and Kevin helping him with some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff's out here for the taking. It's here for the taking. So again, we understand mental health's a real thing. Please get help if you need help. Come on down, 4026 Washington Avenue North. Get connected, be part of, not part from, and live solution. Find the solution. Stay positive. Love you. Talk to you next week. All right. That was the show.